Imagine waking up every day with a sense of dread, a tightness in your chest, and an overwhelming feeling of uncertainty about what the day will bring. It's as if you're carrying a weight that no one can see, but you feel it with every step you take. This weight is anxiety. It can creep into every corner of your life, affecting your relationships, your work, and even your happiness. But what if I told you that this very anxiety, this feeling that seems so uncontrollable, could be your greatest teacher? It may sound strange, but hear me out. Anxiety is often viewed as something we need to eliminate, a dark cloud that we simply wish away. But what if instead of avoiding it, we chose to face it head on? What if we could learn to embrace our anxiety, to understand it, and to use it to our advantage? The truth is, we all experience anxiety in some form. Whether it's the pressure to succeed, the fear of failing, or the uncertainty about the future, anxiety is part of being human. It's not something we can escape, no matter how hard we try. But what we can do is shift our relationship with it. We can choose not to let it control us. And in doing so, we free ourselves from the grip it has on our lives. I want to share with you a story, my story. There was a time when I was paralyzed by fear, caught in a cycle of worrying about everything and nothing all at once. I would lie awake at night, my mind racing, replaying every conversation, every decision, every mistake I ever made. The future seemed so uncertain, and I was overwhelmed by the thought that I could never have it all together. But then, something changed. I realized that my anxiety wasn't a curse. It was a sign that I cared deeply about what I was doing, that I was invested in my growth and my goals. It was telling me that I was on the right path, even if that path felt uncertain. And once I stopped fighting it, once I accepted it as a natural part of my journey, I began to move forward in ways I never thought possible. Today, I'm here to tell you that you can do the same. You can learn to not just survive your anxiety, but to thrive because of it. The journey won't be easy, but it will be worth it. So let's dive in and explore how you can take control of your anxiety, shift your mindset, and start living the life you were always meant to live. Because freedom doesn't come from avoiding fear. It comes from confronting it and learning to dance with it. Part 1. Understanding anxiety and the importance of facing it. Anxiety. It's a word we all know, yet few of us truly understand. It's an emotion that creeps into our lives when we least expect it, casting a shadow over our thoughts, our actions, and even our sense of self. But what is anxiety, really? And why does it have such a powerful hold on us? At its core, anxiety is a natural response to fear or stress. It's a biological reaction, one that's hardwired into our brains as a survival mechanism. When faced with danger, anxiety triggers our fight or flight response, preparing us to deal with whatever is threatening us. In ancient times, this might have been a predator lurking in the bushes or an impending storm. But in today's world, anxiety manifests in much less obvious ways, like an upcoming presentation, an uncertain job interview, or the pressure of expectations in our personal lives. But here's the thing. While anxiety was once helpful in keeping us safe, today it often feels more like a burden than a blessing. Instead of facing physical threats, we're faced with emotional and mental ones. We find ourselves anxious about work deadlines, relationships, and the constant need to be on in a world that moves at lightning speed. And the more we try to avoid anxiety, the more it seems to grow. It's like the elephant in the room that we try to ignore, but the longer we avoid it, the bigger it gets. I remember a time when anxiety ruled my life. It wasn't always obvious to others, but I could feel it tugging at me from within. It was subtle at first. Just a little tightness in my chest before meetings, a fleeting thought of doubt before social events. But over time, it started to spiral. I would overthink every situation, replaying conversations in my mind, over and over, wondering what I said wrong, or how I could have done better. At night, I couldn't sleep, constantly ruminating over what I could have done differently in the past, or how I might fail in the future. It wasn't until I took a step back that I realized how much this constant anxiety was holding me back. It wasn't just affecting my mental state, it was affecting my physical health as well. I was constantly fatigued, my energy drained by the endless loop of worry. My relationships suffered too, as I became more withdrawn, unable to fully engage with the people around me, because I was always lost in my own thoughts. I couldn't focus at work. I couldn't find joy in the present moment. My anxiety had woven itself into every aspect of my life. But here's the thing. Anxiety isn't something that just happens to you. It's not something you're born with, or something that defines who you are. It's a pattern, a cycle that we fall into when we don't confront it. And once I realized that, everything began to shift. I understood that anxiety wasn't something to be afraid of or run away from. It was something to be understood, to be worked with. The key to overcoming anxiety is facing it. And I don't mean just acknowledging it briefly and then pushing it aside. I mean truly sitting with it, understanding where it comes from, and giving yourself the space to feel it without judgment. Because, in the end, it's not the anxiety that controls us. It's how we choose to respond to it. When we deny our anxiety, we give it power. We let it take control of our thoughts, our actions, and ultimately, our lives. But when we choose to face it head-on, when we recognize it as a part of us rather than something separate, we can begin to reframe it. We can start to see anxiety not as a threat, but as a messenger. It's trying to tell us something, to guide us towards something deeper. Maybe it's a signal that we care deeply about a project or relationship. Maybe it's a reminder that we need to slow down and take a breath. One of the most powerful shifts I made in my journey was understanding that anxiety doesn't have to be a negative force. It doesn't have to hold us back. In fact, when we face it and accept it, we can use it to propel ourselves forward. Anxiety can be a tool for growth, for awareness, and for change. It can teach us to become more mindful, more present, and more connected to ourselves and the world around us. So, what do we do when anxiety strikes? First, we breathe. We stop, take a deep breath, and acknowledge what we're feeling. We don't try to suppress it, push it away, or run from it. We simply recognize it. And then, we explore it. We ask ourselves, what is this anxiety trying to tell me? Why do I feel this way? And what can I do about it? The moment we start to face our anxiety is the moment we begin to take back control. It's the moment we stop letting it define us and start using it as a catalyst for change. Because the truth is, anxiety is not our enemy. It's simply a signal, a guidepost on our journey. And if we learn to listen to it, we can unlock a whole new level of growth, peace, and possibility. Part 2. Anxiety in Work and Career. How to recognize and address it. Anxiety in the workplace. It's something we all experience, though we don't always recognize it for what it is. It shows up in subtle ways, like the tightness in your chest before a big presentation, or the nagging fear that you might mess up in front of your colleagues. But sometimes, it's more than just a fleeting worry. It can grip you in ways that make it difficult to focus, to perform at your best, and to even feel good about what you're doing. Understanding how to recognize and handle anxiety at work is essential if we want to not only survive, but thrive in our careers. Let's look at a common scenario: the looming deadline. You're given a task with a clear deadline, but as the days pass, the pressure starts to mount. You start to feel the weight of the deadline pressing down on you. The work isn't hard, but the thought of getting it wrong, of missing the deadline, or of disappointing your boss is enough to make your palms sweat. Suddenly, the task that seemed manageable turns into an overwhelming mountain that you're not sure how to climb. This is a perfect example of how anxiety often manifests in the workplace. It starts as a small worry, something that might seem trivial at first. But when left unchecked, that worry can escalate into something much larger, creating feelings of dread, paralysis, or even burnout. The key here is recognizing that the anxiety is not about the task itself, but about the fear of failure or judgment. Once you identify the underlying cause, fear of letting others down, or fear of not meeting expectations, you can begin to address it. One way to handle this kind of anxiety is by breaking the task into smaller, manageable steps. When you have a big project or deadline ahead of you, it can seem impossible to tackle all at once. But if you break it down into smaller, more achievable tasks, it becomes much less daunting. You might start by simply outlining what needs to be done and setting realistic goals for each part of the project. By doing so, you shift your focus from the overwhelming scope of the work to the specific actions you need to take. This approach can significantly reduce feelings of anxiety because you're no longer staring at a mountain. You're walking up it, step by step. Now, let's consider a second scenario: public speaking. Many of us have had to give presentations at work, whether it's to a small team or a larger audience. The thought of standing in front of people, all eyes on you, can be terrifying. Even if you know your material inside and out, the anxiety can still be overwhelming. The fear of judgment, the fear of making a mistake in front of others, and the fear of not being able to communicate your ideas clearly all contribute to the anxiety surrounding public speaking. To deal with this anxiety, preparation is key. You've probably heard this before, but it's true. The more you prepare, the more confident you'll feel. When you know your material and have practiced your delivery, you'll feel more in control of the situation. Another important strategy is visualization. Before the presentation, take a few moments to close your eyes and visualize yourself speaking confidently, engaging with your audience, and handling any challenges that arise. This technique helps reframe the experience from one of fear to one of mastery. And remember, everyone makes mistakes. If you trip over a word or lose your place, don't let that derail your confidence. Acknowledge it, smile, and keep going. But anxiety doesn't only show up in the form of deadlines or presentations. Sometimes it's about the internal pressure we put on ourselves. Take the example of a person working in a fast-paced industry like tech or finance, where the demands for high performance are constant. This individual might feel an ongoing sense of urgency, always racing against the clock, trying to outpace their colleagues, and pushing themselves to achieve more. While ambition is important, unchecked anxiety in this context can be draining. The constant drive to do more can lead to burnout, and the feeling of never being enough can be crippling. How do you handle this type of anxiety? First, it's crucial to recognize when you're pushing yourself too hard. If you find that you're working long hours, sacrificing your personal life, and still feeling inadequate, it might be time to reassess your goals and priorities. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle, especially in competitive work environments. But at what cost? Take a step back and evaluate if your current work habits are sustainable in the long term. Are you overcommitting yourself because you fear failure? Or are you trying to prove something to others? Setting boundaries is also an important step in managing this kind of anxiety. In high-pressure work environments, it's easy to say yes to every project, every task, every meeting. But saying yes to everything often means saying no to your well-being. Learning to say no, or at least learning to prioritize, is a skill that can help alleviate the anxiety that comes with constant demands. It's about being realistic about what you can handle and understanding that your worth is not measured by how much you accomplish or how many hours you work. In some cases, workplace anxiety might stem from interpersonal relationships. For example, you may be dealing with a difficult colleague or manager, and the constant tension creates a sense of unease. In these situations, the anxiety isn't just about the work itself, but about the dynamics in the workplace. How can you address this? One approach is to have an open and honest conversation with the person causing you stress. It may feel uncomfortable at first, but addressing issues directly can often alleviate the tension and help you both understand each other's perspectives. If direct confrontation isn't an option, or the situation is more complex, it may be helpful to seek support from HR or a trusted mentor. Sometimes, external mediation can help create a safer space for discussing workplace challenges, and having someone else involved can ease the burden of handling it alone. Ultimately, recognizing anxiety in the workplace and learning how to manage it is crucial for long-term success. When we face anxiety head-on, whether it's due to deadlines, public speaking, overwork, or interpersonal issues, we can develop healthier coping strategies and create an environment that allows us to perform at our best. The key lies in understanding that anxiety is not a weakness, but a signal that something needs to change. Once we identify what that something is, we can take proactive steps to regain control, reduce stress, and perform with confidence. Part 3. Methods for addressing anxiety, breathing techniques, and meditation. When anxiety takes hold, one of the first things we can do is focus on our breath. It might sound simple, but breathing is one of the most effective tools we have to regain control of our bodies and minds. So, let's start with a basic breathing technique called diaphragmatic breathing, also known as deep breathing. Begin by finding a comfortable seat or lying down in a quiet place. Close your eyes and place one hand on your chest and the other on your abdomen. Take a slow, deep breath through your nose, feeling your belly rise as you inhale. The key is to focus on filling your lungs from the bottom up. Imagine your breath moving into your abdomen, not just your chest. Now, slowly exhale through your mouth, letting all the air leave your lungs as you feel your belly fall. Try to extend the exhale a little longer than the inhale, allowing your body to release any tension. Let's do this together for a moment. Inhale deeply through your nose, expanding your belly, and exhale slowly through your mouth, letting go of any tightness you're holding on to. Do this for about 5 breaths, allowing your mind to clear with each exhale. As you continue, you'll start to notice that your body becomes more relaxed and your heart rate begins to slow. Breathing deeply like this signals to your brain that you're safe, and it helps activate your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest part of your nervous system that calms you down. This simple technique can be done anytime, anywhere, before a stressful meeting, during a difficult conversation, or even before you go to bed. It's all about bringing awareness to your breath and using it to anchor yourself in the present moment. Now, let's move on to another practice that can help reduce anxiety: meditation. Meditation is a powerful way to quiet the mind and regain control over your thoughts. It's not about forcing your mind to be still, but rather about creating space between your thoughts and simply observing them without judgment. To start, find a comfortable position. You can sit in a chair with your feet flat on the floor or cross-legged on a cushion, whatever feels right for you. Gently close your eyes and take a few deep breaths to center yourself. As you breathe, bring your awareness to the present moment. Notice the sensation of the air entering and leaving your body, the rise and fall of your chest. If your mind starts to wander, don't worry. That's completely normal. The goal is not to stop your thoughts, but to notice them and gently bring your focus back to your breath. If you'd like to go deeper into this meditation, you can incorporate a mantra. A mantra is a word or phrase that you repeat silently to yourself to help anchor your focus. It could be something as simple as peace or calm, or even a phrase like, "I am safe." As you breathe, silently repeat your mantra in sync with your inhales and exhales. With each repetition, you'll notice your mind becoming quieter and your body relaxing even more. Start with just 5 minutes of meditation each day. You might want to set a timer so you don't have to worry about checking the clock. As you practice, you'll find that the more you meditate, the easier it becomes to enter a calm, focused state. Over time, you may even notice that you feel more grounded and less reactive to stressors in your day-to-day life. Another effective technique to reduce anxiety is progressive muscle relaxation, or PMR. This technique involves tensing and relaxing different muscle groups in your body to help release tension and promote relaxation. Let's try it together. Start by sitting or lying down in a comfortable position. Take a few deep breaths to relax. Now, begin by tensing the muscles in your feet. Curl your toes tightly. Hold for a few seconds, and then release the tension as you exhale, allowing your feet to relax completely. Move up to your calves. Tighten the muscles in your calves. Hold for a few seconds, and then relax them fully as you exhale. Continue this process through your body, working your way up. Tense your thighs, your abdomen, your chest, and your hands. As you tense each muscle group, hold for a moment, and then release it, focusing on the sense of relaxation that follows. Pay close attention to the contrast between tension and relaxation in each muscle group. It can be incredibly helpful in letting go of physical and mental tension, especially when you're feeling anxious. One last method that is very effective in calming the mind is mindfulness meditation. Mindfulness is about being fully present in the moment, without judgment. It's about observing your thoughts, feelings, and sensations as they arise, without getting caught up in them. To practice mindfulness, simply find a comfortable position and focus on your breath. As you breathe, begin to observe the thoughts that come and go. When a thought arises, whether it's about your work, your relationships, or something else, simply notice it without attaching any judgment. Let the thought float by like a cloud and return your focus to your breath. As you continue practicing mindfulness, you'll notice that you become less attached to your thoughts and more aware of the present moment. This practice helps break the cycle of worry and overthinking that often fuels anxiety. By simply observing your thoughts Instead of engaging with them, you allow yourself the space to relax and center yourself. Lastly, let's talk about guided imagery. Guided imagery involves visualizing a peaceful scene or place in your mind to reduce stress and anxiety. Find a quiet place to sit or lie down. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and imagine a serene place. Perhaps a quiet beach, a peaceful forest, or a calm mountaintop. Picture yourself there in as much detail as possible. What do you see? What sounds do you hear? What does the air feel like? Engage all of your senses in the visualization. The more vivid and detailed you make the scene, the more effective it will be in calming your mind and body. Incorporating these techniques into your daily routine can make a world of difference in managing anxiety. Whether it's through deep breathing, meditation, progressive muscle relaxation, mindfulness, or guided imagery, you have the power to take control of your anxiety and find peace within yourself. These practices don't require special equipment or a lot of time, but with consistency, they can have a profound impact on your overall well-being. Start small, and over time, you'll notice how much more in control you feel, both mentally and physically. Part 4. How to stop worrying about things beyond your control. We all know what it's like to worry about things that are beyond our control. It could be the uncertainty of the future, the actions of other people, or events that we simply have no power over. But the truth is, this kind of anxiety doesn't help us. In fact, it only causes more stress, frustration, and a sense of helplessness. So, how do we stop worrying about the things we can't control? How do we shift our mindset and regain peace? First, it's important to recognize that worrying about things we cannot control is in many ways a waste of energy. Let me ask you a question. How many times have you spent hours, maybe even days, worrying about something that never actually happened? The vast majority of the time, our fears are based on hypothetical situations, things that might not even come to pass. We create scenarios in our heads, imagining the worst possible outcomes, and then we allow ourselves to get consumed by that fear. But here's the thing, worry doesn't change the outcome. It only robs us of the present moment. Take, for example, a situation where you're waiting for the results of a job interview. You don't know whether you got the job, and your mind starts racing. What if they didn't like me? What if someone else is more qualified? What if I don't hear back at all? Sound familiar? In this situation, you have absolutely no control over the outcome. All you can do is wait. But the more you worry about it, the more you make yourself anxious and stressed. The problem is, this anxiety doesn't help you get the job. It only makes the waiting period more unbearable. So, what's the solution? The first step is acknowledging that you can only control what you can control. And that's not the outcome, but your reaction to the situation. When you shift your focus from the outcome to your actions, you take the power back. In the example of the job interview, instead of obsessing over what might or might not happen, you focus on the things that you can control. Did you prepare to the best of your ability? Did you showcase your skills, experience, and personality in the best possible way? That's all you can do. The rest is out of your hands. This leads to another important point, acceptance. The reality is, life is unpredictable, and no matter how much we try to control it, things will happen that are beyond our influence. We can't control the weather, the economy, the decisions of other people, or even the way our lives unfold sometimes. But what we can control is how we respond to those things. We have the power to choose our mindset, our attitude, and our actions. And when we accept that we cannot control everything, we release ourselves from the burden of trying to manage the uncontrollable. Let's look at another example. Perhaps you're worried about the health of a loved one. It's only natural to care deeply about the people we love. But when we start worrying excessively about their well-being, we cross a line. We may try to control every aspect of their life, or we may become consumed by fear of losing them. But the reality is, we cannot control their health or the choices they make. All we can do is offer support, love, and care. Worrying about their health won't make them better. It will only take a toll on your own emotional state. In situations like this, the key is to focus on what you can do, rather than what you can't. For example, you can offer your loved one comfort and encouragement. You can be there for them in their time of need. But beyond that, their health is not something you have control over. By accepting this, you free yourself from the cycle of anxiety and find peace in knowing that you're doing the best you can. One powerful technique to deal with anxiety over things you cannot control is reframing. Reframing is the practice of changing the way you look at a situation. Instead of seeing it as a threat, you reframe it as an opportunity for growth or learning. For example, if you're stressed about a big presentation at work, instead of focusing on how nervous you are, reframe the situation by thinking about it as an opportunity to share your knowledge and skills. Rather than fearing judgment, you can focus on the value you're providing to others. By reframing your perspective, you shift from a place of anxiety to one of empowerment. Another helpful strategy is mindfulness. Mindfulness teaches us to be present in the moment, without judgment. When you find yourself worrying about something you can't control, practice mindfulness by bringing your focus back to the present. Notice the sights, sounds, and sensations around you. Pay attention to your breath and allow yourself to ground yourself in the now. By doing so, you take your focus away from the future, where your worries reside, and bring your awareness back to the present moment, where everything is okay. Mindfulness allows you to break free from the mental spiral of what-ifs and brings you back to reality. There's also the practice of focusing on gratitude. When we're caught up in worry about things beyond our control, it's easy to lose sight of all the things that are going well in our lives. Gratitude helps us shift our attention to the positive aspects of our current situation. Instead of focusing on what's not going right, we start to acknowledge what we have, what's working, and what we're thankful for. Even in difficult times, gratitude can be a powerful tool to change our mindset and reduce anxiety. But perhaps the most important solution to worrying about things you can't control is self-compassion. It's easy to be hard on ourselves when things don't go the way we want. We might blame ourselves for things that were outside our control, or we might feel guilty for not being able to fix everything. But being compassionate with yourself means recognizing that you are doing the best you can with the resources available to you. It's okay not to have all the answers, and it's okay to feel anxious at times. Self-compassion is about accepting your imperfections and treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to a friend. The bottom line is that worrying about things beyond your control does not serve you. It drains your energy, clouds your judgment, and takes away from the joy you could be experiencing in the present moment. By shifting your focus to what you can control, accepting the uncertainty of life, and practicing techniques like reframing, mindfulness, gratitude, and self-compassion, you can reduce the hold anxiety has on you. Remember, it's not about eliminating all anxiety, because that's not realistic. It's about learning to respond to it in a healthier way and not allowing it to control your life. Call to action. Now, here's the truth. Nothing changes unless you take action. We can talk about managing anxiety, we can discuss techniques, and we can share stories all day long. But the real power lies in what you do next. Right now, in this moment, you have the power to make a decision to step up and take control of your life, your peace, and your future. Imagine a year from now, looking back at this moment as the turning point where everything started to shift. You're no longer overwhelmed by the constant cycle of worry, no longer a slave to the stress and anxiety that used to control you. Instead, you're living in a place of peace, clarity, and strength, with a mindset that helps you face whatever life throws your way. But that future doesn't happen by chance. It happens because you decide to make a change today. If you're ready to stop letting anxiety run your life, then it's time to take action. Right now, make a promise to yourself that you will begin today. Start small. Maybe it's taking 5 minutes every morning to breathe deeply and center yourself before the chaos of the day begins. Or maybe it's sitting down for just 5 minutes of meditation, where you stop, breathe, and reconnect with yourself. These small, intentional actions compound over time, creating a foundation of peace and confidence that will carry you through even the toughest moments. But it doesn't stop there. If you truly want to transform your life, it's not just about making small changes here and there. It's about a total mindset shift. It's about committing to yourself and your growth. Think about this. What would it feel like to be free from the constant grip of anxiety? To wake up every day knowing that you are in control, that you can handle whatever comes your way with confidence and grace. That's possible for you, but only if you take that first step. So I challenge you right now. What's one action you can take today, right after this video, that will move you closer to that vision of peace and freedom? Don't wait for the right time, because it doesn't exist. The right time is now. Don't let the fear of failure hold you back. Don't let the doubts about whether you can change or not keep you stuck. You have the ability to create your reality. Every single day is a new opportunity to take a step forward, even if that step feels small. Each small victory, each breath, each mindful moment is a step towards a life where anxiety no longer controls you. Think about your future self, the version of you that has overcome the struggle, the one who wakes up every day with a sense of calm and purpose. That version of you is waiting for you to take the first step. So stop hesitating. Don't let another day go by where you feel powerless in the face of anxiety. You are more than capable. You are stronger than you realize. And you are ready for change. If you've learned anything today, it's that you have the tools to make a difference in your life. It's not about waiting for things to magically get better. It's about putting in the work, one day at a time. The techniques are simple, but they require consistency. And the payoff? A life where you're no longer a prisoner to your fears and worries, but the one who holds the key to your own peace and happiness. So I want you to take one action right now. Whether it's committing to a daily breathing exercise, scheduling a moment each day for mindfulness, or simply telling yourself that today is the day you start taking control. Whatever it is, make it real. Take that step. The first step is always the hardest, but it's also the most important. Once you take it, you'll realize just how much power you have over your own life. This is your moment. This is your opportunity. Will you take it? Will you choose to take action today and begin your transformation? The choice is yours, and it starts now. Take that first step. Your future self will thank you.